The hidden cost of perfection. Every haute couture gown is a masterpiece, taking hundreds, sometimes thousands of hours to create. The seams, hand-stitched, the beadwork, individually applied, the embellishments, often one of a kind. But what's the real cost of this perfection? While the designers receive global acclaim, the true heroes are often overlooked. The petites mains, or little hands, as they're affectionately called in the industry. These artisans dedicate endless hours to painstakingly intricate details. They work under intense pressure to meet impossible deadlines, sometimes sacrificing their physical and mental well-being in the process. Despite their incredible skills that often take decades to hone, many earn modest wages, living far from the glamorous spotlight of the fashion world. They are the invisible backbone of haute couture, the ones who transform sketches into wearable art. Yet most of us will never know their names, and they seldom receive the recognition they deserve. Imagine this. A single gown may require thousands of individually hand-sewn beads or feathers. Each stroke of embroidery tells a story of dedication and craftsmanship. But for these artisans, it's not just a labor of love. It's labor that often goes unacknowledged. Shouldn't their contributions shine as brightly as the designs themselves? An unsustainable legacy. Haute couture prides itself on being the antithesis of fast fashion. It champions craftsmanship, exclusivity, and longevity. But even this elite world isn't as sustainable as it claims. Behind the glamour and glitter lies an environmental cost that's too significant to ignore. From exotic animal skins to lavish silk and tulle, the resources used to create these garments often come at a significant expense to the environment. Consider the dyes used in couture fabrics. Many are laden with harmful chemicals, polluting waterways in countries where these textiles are produced. This pollution has devastating effects on local ecosystems and communities. And while haute couture garments are designed to last forever, the process of creating them often involves wasteful practices. Fabrics are discarded in excess, prototypes are made and remade, and rejected designs are simply forgotten. For an industry that celebrates beauty and perfection, its relationship with the planet is anything but harmonious. Some argue that the very nature of haute couture, producing small quantities of highly exclusive garments, makes it more sustainable than fast fashion. But does that excuse the industry's reliance on unsustainable materials? From feathers to fur, silk to rare dyes, the resources consumed for the sake of fashion are vast. In a world grappling with climate change, can haute couture evolve to honor not only artistry, but also the planet? The obsession with exclusivity. The allure of haute couture lies in its exclusivity. Only a privileged few can afford these garments. Each piece is custom-made, tailored precisely to fit the client, creating a sense of individuality that mass-produced fashion cannot replicate. But exclusivity comes at a price, one that extends far beyond the hefty price tags. Some designers deliberately limit their collections to maintain mystique, and many haute couture pieces are never even meant to be worn. That's right. Many of these breathtaking garments are created purely as marketing tools, a showcase of artistry designed to generate buzz. These garments often end up locked away in archives or private collections, never seeing the light of day. It's not about accessibility. It's about making everyone else feel excluded. In the world of haute couture, exclusivity isn't just a selling point. It's the product itself. This deliberate inaccessibility fuels desire, turning couture into an unattainable dream for most. But does this strategy come at the cost of true artistic expression? What happens to these archive pieces? Some are preserved as cultural artifacts, while others disappear into private collections, untouched and forgotten. The question arises, is fashion truly art if it's never experienced by the public? Or does exclusivity strip away its meaning? Controversial materials and practices. Despite growing awareness around ethical and sustainable fashion, many haute couture houses continue to rely on controversial materials. Real fur, exotic leathers, and feathers sourced from live animals are still prevalent in collections. These materials are prized for their texture, rarity, and visual impact. But at what cost? One of the most disturbing practices in the industry involves the harvesting of feathers from live birds. This process is as cruel as it sounds, causing immense suffering to the animals involved. While some brands have begun exploring sustainable alternatives, the demand for rare and luxurious materials often outweighs these efforts. For years, activists have called for a ban on unethical materials in haute couture. Some progress has been made, with a few brands embracing innovative fabrics like lab-grown leather and plant-based silk. But the shift is slow, and the industry's attachment to tradition often hinders meaningful change. It's worth asking, can haute couture truly evolve while clinging to outdated practices? Is it possible to celebrate luxury without causing harm to animals and ecosystems? The strain on models. Runway models are often seen as the epitome of beauty and confidence. But behind the scenes, their reality is far less glamorous. Haute couture's notoriously tiny sample sizes are designed for mannequins rather than real humans, forcing models to conform to impossible standards. This pressure often leads to extreme dieting and unhealthy habits, putting both physical and mental health at risk. The demands of couture don't stop there. Models are expected to wear towering heels, balance extravagant headpieces, and navigate complex runways, all while maintaining a flawless expression. The risk of injury, exhaustion, and long-term health issues is ever present. Despite these challenges, the industry rarely addresses the toll it takes on its models. Many face burnout, yet they are often dismissed as disposable, one of the countless cogs in the couture machine. How long can the industry continue to prioritize perfection over the well-being of its participants? The battle against counterfeiting. Haute couture is one of the most pirated industries in the world. Within days of a runway show, counterfeiters replicate designs and flood the market with knockoffs. These counterfeits tarnish brand reputations and siphon profits, undermining the exclusivity that couture relies upon. The irony? Some couture houses have been accused of copying as well. Independent designers and indigenous artisans have pointed fingers at luxury brands for appropriating cultural patterns and ideas without credit. This creates a vicious cycle. While the industry fights counterfeits, it also faces criticism for exploiting smaller creatives. Is there a solution to this dual problem of theft? Some brands are turning to blockchain technology to authenticate their garments, but widespread adoption remains a challenge. In the meantime, the industry continues to grapple with issues of ownership and originality, exposing the contradictions within its own practices. The gatekeeping of innovation. Creativity is the lifeblood of haute couture. Yet paradoxically, it's one of the most gate-kept industries in fashion. To even be considered a true haute couture house, a brand must meet strict requirements set by the Chambre syndicale de la haute couture in Paris. This governing body decides who can carry the coveted haute couture label, effectively shutting out most new or independent designers. Even within established houses, young creatives often find their boldest ideas stifled by traditionalists who prioritize the status quo over innovation. What could the future of haute couture look like if these barriers were removed? Imagine a world where fresh voices and diverse perspectives were embraced, challenging the norms and redefining what couture can be. Could this democratization breathe new life into an industry steeped in tradition? Haute couture is undeniably breathtaking, a celebration of artistry, craftsmanship, and luxury. But as we peel back the layers of silk and tulle, we uncover a far more complex narrative. From the artisans whose hands bring designs to life, to the environmental and ethical costs, to the models and materials sacrificed in the name of perfection, the true price of haute couture is steep. So, which of these dark secrets shocked you the most? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more untold stories from the world of fashion. Because in the end, understanding the reality behind the glamour is the first step toward meaningful change.